Meteorologist Casey Cloud with you from the Weather Center on this Thursday afternoon, trying to give you guys the latest information to protect you, your friends, and your family. You can see what's going on right now with the Doppler scans in Northern Alachua County. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in play at about 1:30. At 1:04, a severe thunderstorm is located near Gainesville. They're really on the north side, moving northeast at about 15 miles an hour, and even north of the airport as they did get a gust in the 33-mile-an-hour range here just a few moments ago, but the worst seems to be north of them. You see that 33 indicator on the screen, and that's where the airport is at there, Gainesville Airport, just for perspective. But the worst seems to be to the north here, with 60-mile-an-hour wind gust, quarter-size hail. The biggest threats here as we're looking toward areas closer toward Fairbanks. Now we need to watch this here over the next little bit because if it holds together, it could move toward areas like Waldo, Theresa, Keystone, and Hampton here based on some preliminary indications. So just giving you guys a heads up here from the Weather Center on this Thursday afternoon. So again, looking at things, it didn't look quite as maybe robust in the wind motor that did just a moment ago when the warning was issued, but things could always come back together, and if they don't come back together to be severe for areas downstream, they'll still probably be pretty strong. So you definitely want to be inside and away from windows here because of that lightning potential here as we're looking toward a Waldo, Hampton, Theresa, and Keystone here over the next little bit. So giving you that early heads up here as we're looking further downstream in toward some of these different spots. So just moving off toward the northeast at about 15 miles an hour. So just be aware of this storm as it comes on in toward your areas here. I know we'll be watching for other storms to develop. There's no form of severe weather risk today like there was yesterday, but it doesn't really matter sometimes this time of year as we start to have these afternoon storms where we just erupt here based on some of the different parameters that are available. So again, I just want to be really, really careful here. Excuse me, in these type of situations. I know the Weather Service was saying that they were talking about the storm track and probably really more east, northeast, and northeast or east. I know in one of the statements they went east, one of them they went northeast, but Roy is probably east, northeast here. So just so you guys know here in the Weather Center, but giving you that information, seeing that. But let me go ahead and kind of look at some more of our scans. So some of the worst of this would be located here. It looks like near North County Road 225 over here toward even some of these different areas out here. As I'm trying to look, a lot of them aren't showing up because they're pretty rural, thankfully, but Tree Farm Road here as well. So again, just giving you guys an idea, the severe thunderstorm warning here in north central Florida this afternoon. It's not for the most populated areas, but just wanted to jump on because it was looking like it was strengthening at a pretty quick rate there when this morning first got issued. But again, the latest scans are sort of a little bit lesser in terms of the brightnesses of the colors here. So again, that would indicate a little bit weaker winds here trying to get down toward the surface, but we still can't let our guard down here because it'll still be at least a strong thunderstorm as it moves off toward the north and east or east northeast, however you want to describe it here over the next little bit. So again, talking about areas there like Hampton, Theresa, Keystone, and Waldo, but right now it's more about Fairbanks here as we're looking in the timeline. So even Orange Heights could be on the edge of this too, just if you're wondering from that area down there in Northern Alachua County, Northeastern Alachua County. So again, just trying to let you guys know what's happening here with all of our different scans and just some of the different things that are just disposal here this afternoon. I know we're in Bradford County if you're wondering where we're at. So let me go ahead and just remind you guys of that. I'll go ahead and mention here that this warning is in Alachua. Many of you are familiar with that, obviously, if you're watching from North Central Florida. But, I mean, we have viewers from all over the region joining us right now on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch potentially. So, just kind of, if you're watching from, like, Tallahassee or, let's say, Southwest Georgia somewhere, just letting you guys know that this warning's in North Central Florida. Kind of different than we've dealt with in some of these events here in the summertime period so far. I know it's not officially summer, but just in this type of pattern. So just so you guys are aware here where we're at. We're talking this time about North Central Florida. So this is where we're kind of be monitoring things here over the next little bit. Let me go ahead and go back on over here toward our other system right now. Let me kind of give you guys the latest here on the scans. I mean, there could be some small hail in here as well. It was looking like there's a little bit better chance of that a few moments ago, maybe getting that severe criteria as that warning got issued, but it seemed like it kind of went down a little bit here, maybe trying to pull us back up just a bit based on our hail tracker. So let me go ahead and go over toward that mode here. Right now, you can kind of see what we're talking about. We're looking at some of this here in the vicinity of Fairbanks. They're going to be getting there toward Waldo Road about now, some of this threat. So just be aware of that as we're continuing to watch things. It's the only warning right now. We do have some other thunderstorm action here across the region, but none of it looks too organized right now, with the exception of the one area that we're talking about. There is some stuff here toward there is some of that stuff there toward parts of Franklin County. So areas closer toward Apalachicola getting into some strong thunderstorm potential, possibly, or Caravel. We'll monitor all that over there. But right over here toward areas of Alachua County is where the big storyline is right now. So again, just to make sure you're inside and away from windows here if you're in Northern Alachua County. So again, I'm just trying to give you the latest. Obviously, for those of you not familiar with this area, of course, Gainesville is where the University of Florida is. This is to the north of the University of Florida, so that's some good news for those folks down there. And we'll just continue to watch things here as, again, this moves off toward Waldo and Keystone, the rest at Hampton here over the next little bit. So, again, just monitoring things here in the Weather Center right now. It doesn't look like something that's really organized. Maybe not quite as organized as it was when we first got that warning. Seemed like we had more purples in there at that point, but there's still some of that. So don't want to let your guard down here. Some of this right here closer in on your screen, showing up some of these roads not really being listed. So that means pretty rural. We're going to be crossing over State Road 24 Waldo Road to watch this here soon. So just giving you guys a heads up there, that latest scan there, letting you guys know that we do have a little bit, it looks like a black zone up here on the Doppler radar scans. We'll just go ahead and continue to watch things here in the timeline as they do progress on us. We'll see if a new warning is required in the east-northeast here. I would kind of think probably more significant with an advisory, but if this starts to pulse back up here, considering we're a little bit further away from the radar, they may go with another severe thunderstorm warning. We'll just wait and see. So, no formal risk of severe weather today. One thing I do want to note, that they were mentioning it here in the chat earlier, it's not something that we're really concerned about or anything. There's, again, a threat that's really not something that's just overwhelming. I mean, no formal risk again, but they were mentioning earlier on that there's a low chance of shallow quick spin-ups in terms of maybe a tornado threat to be really low toward the East Coast sea breeze in the late afternoon as convection emerges. So just so you guys know, it's probably not going to happen, but there's a really low chance of something quickly spinning up there along the East Coast sea breeze later. So we'll monitor that. Obviously, we've been on for all tornado warning storms moving through our 62 counties since late 2019. So we're committed to being on. If we were to get a rogue tornado warning, again, it's unlikely, but chances are not completely at zero for that. So just letting you guys know. Let me go ahead and kind of look here. We do have a storm. It looks like near I-10 in Baker County there. Maybe pulsing up in a little north of Olustee. And then as we look west of Lake City, we have a storm there. You see a storm around White Springs. Again, none of these are too impressive, not as impressive in terms of the organization here as we have in Northern Alachua County this afternoon. But we'll continue to watch. I see we just got a mesoscale discussing from the Weather Prediction Center. Heavy rain possible toward eastern and southeast Georgia. And that may be more about areas closer towards Savannah, but nonetheless, just something to kind of make note of here this afternoon. So, again, let me go ahead and zoom back on out here on our view here as the timeline does progress. So, again, you see there's no dark green in our area in terms of a marginal risk. There is one off toward Birmingham up there and toward parts of central and northern Alabama. No tornado risk there necessarily formally, but hail risk there, a wind risk up there. As we get out toward areas in the south central, it's a little bit different story. We'll kind of move our map over just a little bit more because we actually do have a risk here of some wind potential here, and then hail threat a little bit higher toward Amarillo. And even an isolated tornado can't be ruled out there. Amarillo, Childress there, over toward some of those other spots there, Texas Panhandle, maybe a little bit in Oklahoma. But just giving you guys a heads up there. Let's get back to the local view right now. Again, these storms here, we're watching them. We may be in a scenario here where we don't get a whole bunch of warnings today, but it just kind of depends on how the East Coast sea breeze interacts. I mean, obviously, if that really interacts here, that could be something that really gets our storms going. We had a higher rain chance today at 70% based on what I was looking at Tuesday night. It definitely looks like more rain for North Central Florida today, but other areas of the Reunion Circle, they may miss out a little bit. We'll see. We'll see how things kind of develop on us here. Just looking at wind direction and the like here, we may not get as much development depending on where we're at within the viewing circle. And the model guidance has struggled here recently, so really struggled. So there's your warning. I'll go ahead and take that off for now. I'll take off the lightning because what I want to do, we have our model guidance in here I can go to. So let me start it off from around 2 o'clock or so. Our forecast model is actually doing an okay job, it seems like. Initializing here, I know it's actually a scenario where it initialized a little bit earlier on, but it's doing a good job here, really, in terms of comparing this to what the radar actually looks like here about 35 minutes before that benchmark. So sometimes they're way off the different model runs, but again, let me go ahead and just reiterate here that this is what you're looking at here, a forecast model. So again, we'll just continue to watch things here in the Weather Center as we're looking at this. It's just always important here, to be able to give you guys a look here at what could happen later on in toward the timeline here. So again, this is 2 o'clock. We'll go ahead and advance this here off toward 3 o'clock. You see Southwest Georgia staying pretty dry. For instance, 4 o'clock here. And we do have a new warning now. It looks like, by the way, for Franklin and Gulf counties. So that area is turning off toward the west now, prompting a warning to 2:15. We'll jump over to that here in a moment. But this is 4 o'clock here. You see some stuff in St. Johns County that could be a little more robust. So something to keep an eye on. 5 o'clock, not as much here in terms of maybe the just most robust accent, but we'll see. 6 o'clock here, continuing to watch. 7 o'clock, still some stuff that could be on the edge there, strong and severe. So we'll be watching that. That's about 7 o'clock tonight with our forecast model. So again, we just got word of a new warning. So let me go ahead and jump on over toward that. It's a pretty confined area here as we look off toward the west. And so they're going to go with an advisory for parts of Bradford, Alachua, Clay, and Putnam here. So that means a new warning is not going to be issued, it doesn't seem, for that area there. But I'm just looking here to see what else we might want to say, guys, as the situation does progress. The new warning just barely clips actually for an area different. And I know we had the one area that was kind of strong, but they're actually still in a severe area off in Gulf County more than in Franklin. That's moving off toward Apalachicola. It would seem here moving southeast at about 15 miles an hour. So that's kind of the storyline there then. Moving off toward the southeast. This is moving more off toward the east-northeast here. So definitely intriguing to see. I know we have our energy values here out today that are pretty high on the board. Not as high as they could be, though, but some of these red areas here closer to 3,000 joules per kilogram. In terms of any type of rotation in the atmosphere, we're not seeing that in terms of a parameter to put that on. You're not really seeing that pop up. So that's some good news. That's some good news here for sure. Let's see here. Again, as we continue to watch the situation, we're just trying to give you guys the latest on what is happening. Just trying to let you guys know exactly the different threats here that could be in play for you as the timeline does continue. So it looks like here we're just going to keep watching stuff. It looks like actually the storm has quickly developed over Orange Heights now, out ahead of the other storm, which would be kind of weakening the one there. So very, very quickly. I mean, this is 115, 119. You see 124 there on that timeline really quickly. A storm developing right over Orange Heights. So they're calling that strong, but really it should encompass both areas here. I don't think the other area out there toward the west is enough for another warning as it moves on in. So kind of intriguing here as we're looking. This stuff can happen this time of year. Things just happen so rapidly. There's changes so rapidly here with the storms that we see here. So you just have to kind of be on guard. Significant advisory now for portions of Levy County. So again, we're just going to be watching to see if anything down there goes severe a little bit later on. But this right here, again, around Orange Heights, has quickly evolved on us, quickly developed. You can see here, again, there's the view. That was 1:15, folks. That was less than 15 minutes ago. Not much there. And then by 1:19, we see the heavier rain there developing over town. And then over US 301 there. And then 1:24, you can see there the heavy downpour with some lightning mixing in. So again, that should kind of weaken the accent back toward the west too. So again, something to kind of keep our eyes on here. You see this area in Levy County there between Williston and Morriston there. So we'll have to watch there to see if that becomes severe as it moves up into Northern Alachua and Marion counties there over the next little bit. I do want to switch radar off toward Franklin and Gulf here. Franklin and Gulf, because they're talking about here in the chat session that they saw a 3-body scatter spike indicating hail in the mid-levels there that prompted that warning. So I definitely don't want to get caught off guard there toward Gulf County is outside of our viewing area or just inside of our viewing area with Franklin County. Again, that other storm toward the east there is not what prompted the warning. It's the one that's off toward the west there. Just kind of coming into view again. This stuff's popping up very rapidly here. So things change within just a few moments, Roy. We describe one thing and something else kind of emerges and kind of maybe takes hold instead here. That's what we have to be prepared for in this type of setup here in this time of year. So again, that storm right now is off in toward Gulf County. Really, you can kind of see that on the Doppler radar vantage point there. But again, it's moving into Franklin. Looking to see, it's just looking like mainly a severe thunderstorm here. Probably more of that hail threat than anything. But some of that wind threat could be coming into play here too. Don't really see any rotation whatsoever. Mainly just winds going all in one direction here. So we'll just have to continue to watch things here in the weather center. We'll just have to continue to watch. It's over a pretty rural area right now. The worst may go just west of Roy, Apalachicola proper. A part of Apalachicola under this warning, but it's not for let's say downtown Apalachicola, which is some good news. So what I'm thinking here, since it's not for a very highly populated area, I'll stick with it for another couple minutes. But if we don't see any new warnings pop up anywhere else, I'll probably wrap up the coverage since our coverage is mainly for that storm in Alachua. That's more just on the strong side now versus being severe and kind of merging now, it would seem, with the area back behind. So let me go ahead and see that here. You can kind of see kind of merging here with that area back behind. So that's some interesting news there. This stuff isn't as robust here. It's not as robust here as it could be. So again, that's kind of a storyline there. As we look at some different things here in the weather center, you see our temperature. Some spots like Cecil Field up in the order 90s, but a lot of other spots like Gainesville Airport, they're a little cooler here with that storm in the vicinity there over the last little bit. Not necessarily getting much rain there, but just with the overall setup here cooling down some. So kind of interesting to see. That might help mitigate some storm action later on. We'll see. Lake City there in the 70s as well, so cooling on down toward Columbia County. Again, we're down to just the one warning that recently got issued out toward the west. The one for Alachua is over for now, but still a strong thunderstorm. Really strong thunderstorm action there, and some more strong thunderstorms toward the west, as we alluded to. But Gulf and Franklin is where we have a severe thunderstorm warning right now. Again, Apalachicola Airport is under this warning, even though Apalachicola downtown not necessarily under this. So just something to keep in mind here. This is a strong and severe thunderstorm here that's moving on into the picture. It looked like it might have been a little bit bigger in the scan beforehand, but still could be there close to an inch. We'll just have to continue to monitor things here. We'll just have to continue to give you guys the latest updates here on this type of situation. So again, just see what we have on our Doppler scans. You can see strong thunderstorm there around Williston. It looks like now, again, between about Williston and Morriston here. Montauk there. So we'll just have to watch that as it moves off to Alachua and Marion counties. Just have to keep watching these different scans. Again, this storm here that we came on for is around, it's really kind of, I know we were talking about the main axis moving off more toward Waldo, Hampton, Keystone, the rest of it. This area here has really emerged, as we alluded to here, over the last few moments. You could see it here. I mean, even on this mode, I mean, we're looking at 120, give or take, you know how much there, and then all of a sudden that develops out ahead of the main area. Now it's kind of merged here, but some of this will still be moving toward, it was lightning potential Hampton areas there in that vicinity. So let's see what that significant weather advisory says here in a moment. But let's go back to the warning for now off toward the west. It's in play again. The wind threat doesn't look overwhelming, but definitely some hail potential here, moving closer toward eventually maybe 319 here. So we'll just have to watch that as it progresses in the timeline. Let's get over to the Jacksonville radar now. Let me go ahead and switch on over toward the Jacksonville radar site here in just one moment. We'll kind of give you guys that viewpoint here on what's happening. As we continue along here, I'll be able to kind of zoom back and see that new significant advisory that got issued here and kind of reiterate that here as the timeline does continue. I know it's always kind of interesting to do things like that here in the grand scheme of things. So again, just trying to let you guys know exactly what's going on here. Let me go ahead and say here where this new significant weather advisory was issued. You can see Waldo Orange Heights there. You can see Keystone here over the next little bit. So strong thunderstorm, but right now not severe. This one here looks like it's growing pretty quick here around Williston. So just east side of Williston going into parts of Marion County. So we'll just have to continue to watch things here on the Doppler radar scans. We'll have to just continue to monitor the situation here as it does progress on us as we get later on into toward the afternoon to see if new warnings are required here. Again, right now it's just about that one warning out toward Franklin and Gulf. Pretty rural area overall. Let me check the population density real quick here. Let me go ahead and make sure I check the population density on this type of situation. So that warning though about 215 goes out for only 1,080 folks. So pretty rural. If we get more warnings that we need to come on for, we will. If we need to just maybe post about them on Facebook, on Twitter, there's some of the information there where you can get those details as they do come on out. Again, I'm expecting probably some more warnings here, but maybe not an overwhelming amount. We'll see. Those summertime patterns can really catch you off guard sometimes, as things are not going to go exactly how the models depict, and just little microscale things can kind of change things on you here very rapidly, as we've already seen a couple different areas kind of emerging more than where we were first focusing, getting some different boundaries involved here and some different things involved here in the meteorology. So again, if we need to come back on, we will, but for now, you can see all of our different sources. I know one of them, including their this stream accent really coming across is on that YouTube source. So again, youtube.com/@cloudsweather where you can go. You can hit that subscribe button. That's free. You can hit that bell icon to be notified when we come on as well. And even hit that like button on the stream just to show your support too. So again, the one warning for Alachua expired on out, but strong thunderstorm accents still north central Florida, that vicinity, but off toward the west in the Big Bend in our 62 county. There is a severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Franklin and Gulf. More rural areas there overall, but we'll keep watching, keep tracking. If we need to jump back in, we will, but that'll do it for this stream for now.